Greetings and salutations. You are listening to the Into the North podcast, where we take a look at the competitive side of the Commander format, also known as CDH. I'm one of your hosts, Reed, aka Sick Robot, and today I'm joined by my co-host, Matt, aka Null.
Yo, yo.
And Morgan, aka Spleenface.
What's up, everyone?
In this episode, we're going to go back to doing a format that we swore that we would never do, and then sort of reneged on that one multiple times in a row. We're doing a set review. Hey,
Yeah. It's a slightly different.
but I swear it's for good reason. We're gonna be reviewing the Universes Beyond Warhammer 40k, or Warhammer 40,000, as they call it in official Magic streams. Which, Lord, I hate that. But yeah, we're gonna be reviewing the 40k set because there's some pretty cool stuff in it. I won't lie. Especially there's like probably more commanders more interesting commanders that we've seen like out of like a single set probably this year, right? I think I'm getting that wrong. Anyway,
there are definitely a lot of cool commanders out of the set, nonetheless.
Yeah. So definitely worth looking at. But before we get into all that, it's been a hot second since the last episode. What have you guys been up to?
Oh man! Wow.
Well, Matt's been doing a lot of work on a thing.
Secret project.
Yeah.
Actually, and I think I also missed like the last couple episodes because they were special episodes or like guest episodes.
Or just guest episodes.
Yeah,
I think
so. It's been a while.
You and Lyndon have been like pretty absent from the last streak, so it's good to have one of you back.
Yeah, good to be back.
But apparently we can only handle one at a time, so I guess next week we'll have Lyndon on, and then you can rotate out.
That's the plan. Yeah, we'll let Lyndon know.
Yep.
I don't know. Yeah, I've been. I don't know. I've been playing Elden Ring. I guess that's basically it. I've been really busy.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Are you playing on what's it called?
PC.
Well, no, I was gonna ask if you're playing on like a steering wheel or something on the
yeah.
Playing it the way that you're supposed to play Souls games.
I've got my Guitar Hero remote here, so
yeah, exactly.
Get that going.
All right.
Okay.
So I think without further ado, we're just going to jump into housekeeping real quick. We do have some more patrons. Thanks for supporting us, even though we haven't done anything for a month. Much appreciated. We're getting back to the groove, so it'll keep it going. First up, here's thanks to Ken Bauman. Became a patron after the last episode and took us, again, an entire month to get around to thanking you. But thanks, Ken. Much appreciated.
Also, John S.
And also Rob S.
You all rock. Thanks for supporting the podcast. We're gonna keep it going. In terms of new developments, we have some cool ones, and they're both things that I guess I'm going to be doing the announcing on, so I'll go do those right now. First of all, stroking my own ego for a second here. So me, Lyndon, and Morgan all played in the recent Chaos 4 tournament, Chaos at the Nexus 4, sponsored by Sadnaz
podcast.
Yep, the Sadnaz podcast. Sorry, I didn't forget. I actually had something caught in my throat. Nobody's gonna believe me, but I did. But thanks for the Sadnaz guys. Adam specifically was super involved with the running of the tournament, so much appreciated. It was actually, Matt, I don't know, you weren't there, but Morgan, like this. To me, this seemed like probably like almost the most well-run tournament in terms of like just like how quickly it ran and sort of like without hitches. Obviously, like it wasn't perfect, but it was in my opinion, my experience was like just pretty smooth all the way through.
Yeah, it was definitely a well-run tournament.
Yeah.
Seems like the whole community is definitely we're getting better.
Yeah,
we still room for improvement, but like the last few tournaments I've been to, I've been like, wow, these didn't have like, you know, any serious issues, and you know, just keep it going, Todd. So shout out to all the people who are putting on tournaments and doing a good job.
Yep. But yeah, so that tournament, unfortunately, Morgan did in fact scrub out. But Lyndon made tops. It did. That's a tragic one.
I got turn to Nost twice.
Yeah.
What did you guys bring?
I took Rafine.
I brought Hermitless Sacred Thrastimna, which is pretty interesting. I do want to talk about that one, but
yeah.
I don't want to dominate too much of this episode talking about that deck. Long story short, I think the deck's really good. I really like Sacred Thrastimna right now. I think that like the deck is just a pile of really good cards, and like all of your stuff is always live, and you can basically you can beat any matchup with prep, basically. Or like as long as you know what you're doing, you're never completely out of a game. You always have winning chances, which I really appreciate.
Yeah,
I mean that's true of like every Thrastimna deck, but like specifically this one where like you like quite literally are just not playing any bad cards. Everything in the deck is just good stuff. Even Wingcrafter, I'll defend that one.
Even Wingcrafter, yeah.
And then Linden brought Riel. Linden actually made top 16, so good shit, Linden. Keeping up the average, and I made top 4, which I'm pretty happy about. We're still working toward a tournament win on my end for this year. I did win the MLC, which we noted last episode, but that was a month ago, and also that episode was dedicated to Ken, so I'll take the room for ego right now. So on a pretty good run, still want to get a tournament win before the end of the year, but I'm not sure how likely that it is. I think, is there another Eminence event before the end of the year?
I don't believe so.
I don't think so. So I think my only chance is going to be potentially Chaos 5 if they run that before end of year, or Oktoberfest.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that one goes. We'll try for it. But yeah, so that was pretty fun. Congrats to it was Tremnek, right?
Yes.
Right? Yeah, it was Tremnek that actually took it down. Which actually, taking down a tournament on Blue Farm, surprisingly, it's surprisingly like, or it's surprisingly a surprise, rather. I don't know, like, when's the last time Blue Farm won a tournament?
Are you okay there, bud?
Yeah, we're getting through it. Don't worry about it. But when is the last time the Blue Farm won a tournament?
Like, it won one of the Tier 1 con qualifiers, at the very least. I'm pretty sure Kolkio won
over a year ago?
No. Like, Kolkio won the, like...
Oh, like the, okay,
one of the events leading up to it this year. It's won a bunch of tournaments that aren't, like, specifically the US-focused, like, online tournaments. It's...
So
the whole, like, Blue Farm doesn't win tournaments is, like, a meme. It's not actually true.
It doesn't win tournaments. It still has never won a tournament. Will never win a tournament. So I'll try again next time. But yeah, moving on. Aside from that, by the time this episode's out, database reviewer applications are actually going to be open. So if you're interested in that, go check that out. I won't chill it too hard, but you can go to the website /Discord and go get stuff. I'm not going to lock myself into putting links in the description, but I don't have to. go do that if you're interested. But yeah, aside from that, I think we're good to get on to the main topic. So we've sort of picked out a selection of cards that we think are interesting. A majority of them are commanders, but there are a couple of non-commanders in here, and we're just gonna talk about them. We haven't done a set review in a hot second, so let's see if we still got the gist of things.
But it seems like with 40k, like a lot of these are at least fringe playable competitive commanders. So it's really cool.
Cool. So I think we'll head right into it. So we're gonna start with the commanders, and then we'll do the non-commanders afterward. Matt, would you like to start us off?
Sure. So this first one, Abaddon the Despoiler, correct pronunciations, I hope. 2 blue, black, red, for a 5/5 legendary creature, of course. Astartes. Yeah, warrior.
Yep.
Okay,
you got
sweet.
it. Yep.
I don't do 40k.
2 for 2.
So that's good. Mark of the Chaos Ascendant. During your turn, spells you cast from your hand with mana value X or less have Cascade, where X is the total amount of life your opponents have lost this turn. So we've definitely seen a couple commanders with Cascade that have, pretty broken combos.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. 98 land Maelstrom Wander.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's the good stuff.
And did I mention Trample?
Yeah, the Trample 5/5 is actually like a very large part of this card, honestly. Yeah. But yeah, it's pretty cool. It's got like it's like a Yidris except weird. So like you drop the color that you need the least from Yidris in exchange for a larger body and also the ability to theoretically have it be active the turn that it comes down rather than having to wait a turn to attack, which is sort of neat.
So
yeah, I like the fact that it's ready right away, and you also don't have to rely on combat damage with the Idris, I think, or was it just attacks?
You just has to deal combat damage.
Yeah.
But in fairness, it is a 5/4 trampler, so it definitely connects.
It's going to.
I think this being on the turn you play it is like very fringe.
Yeah.
Like, so you still need some way to deal damage. Plus, it's 5 mana. And then you're following it up, like, I don't know, maybe you live the dream and you cascade into, like, Lotus Bloom or something, but I feel like a lot of the time you don't. But also, like, I don't necessarily agree that green is the color you need least.
Yeah, me neither.
In
Right?
Idris.
You say blue?
Yeah, like, particularly, I mean, now, in fairness, I think green might be the color you need the least on Abaddon, but just, like,
right, sure.
because like, Yidris costing 4 different colored pips to cast, I think actually
it sucks.
the green, like, is super helpful for that, but, like, so I don't think that necessarily translates as well, but...
Okay, if they were the same card except for mana cost, do you like the green or the 2 better? I think I like the 2.
I think I like the 2 marginally better, but I like the green and the being able to play the green cards in my deck.
Sure.
Yeah, I think I like green basically for carpet and dorks. Like, just they seem hard to replace.
Also, Noxious Revival is kind of a thing.
And Noxious Revival, yeah,
definitely not bad.
For sure.
Yeah.
in Cascade decks,
pretty good.
Yeah,
kind of good.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think we'll probably see this end up in about the same way, in about the same place that Idris is right now. Like, it has definite upsides, but it's also like, yeah, you lose a color that has a relatively real impact on the deck, and also it's like a mana more, and also like I feel like for the most part Idris has sort of been pushed as far as it'll go. Actually, I guess you do lose song creativity or song creation as well, huh? That's what sucks.
Yeah, I don't know that that's like particularly.
I don't think it's a backbreaker, but it's stuff. But yeah, I mean, like, it's more Cascade stuff. We have, like, good stuff to cascade into. I mean, we always did, but we have, like, even better stuff to cascade into now, so you just
although,
sort of
like,
play the
with
deck.
Breach, the Gaia's Will, is that what it's called? That card, like, always seems better than it is when you're playing it in a shell with Breach.
Yeah, it's just so rough to have a Yogg-Will active in, like, any deck that wants to do Breach stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. I think that's about all we got on Abaddon. I guess we'll go next here with Marnius Calgar. Marnius Calgar is an Astartes warrior. You got 2 white, blue, black to cast, so Esper. Is a 3/5 and has double strike. Has Master Tactician. Whenever 1 or more tokens enter the battlefield under your control, draw a card. And as Chapter Master, pay 6 generic. Create 2/2/2 white Astartes warrior creature tokens with vigilance. This is pretty neat. I think if we're calling Rafine the best Esper commander right now, which I don't think is a stretch. I think I would say Rafine's probably better than Zur at the moment.
I'd agree with that. Yeah.
I think Calgar actually has arguments for being paired with Zur. I don't think it's necessarily quite as good as Rafine, but it's definitely got some stuff going on. I mean, so the fact that it is just an infinite mana outlet, so you can pay 6, you make 2/2/2s, and then his other ability triggers and draws a card every time you make those tokens.
Yeah.
So you're basically like paying 6 mana to draw a card, as well as like put stuff into play, but 6 mana draw a card means that you just get to win with stuff like really, I mean, well, I'm not going to name all the infinite mana combos, but Iso Rev is the big one here.
I mean, the fact that it's all
stuff.
colorless also makes like monolith power artifacts real.
Yep, definitely makes it possible to use that kind of stuff. Unfortunately, you don't have kin and things, but I mean, you could potentially run Rings of Bright Earth if you wanted to. That's rough, but
I don't know why you'd want to, but
yeah, maybe not.
But I think actually the more interesting part of this commander than the infinite. I mean, the infinite mana outlet in Esper is definitely like that's a new thing. Esper hasn't really had a good infinite mana outlet before, so there's definitely space to be explored there. I think the more interesting stuff is the fact that it just like synergizes really well with a bunch of stuff that you were already playing in these colors. Like if we look at like other fat Esper commanders like Tivit, you're already running a bunch of stuff in that deck that you're only going to be putting into this deck, but Marnius just makes you draw a card for them. So stuff like Smothering Tithe turns into pay 2 mana, or I make a treasure and draw a card.
Smothering Tithe seems insane.
So like,
in this deck.
Okay, but does it run into the problem of like that's
Being
too
too
much
good.
and people actually just pay?
But potentially, yeah. I mean, but you're fine with that though, right? Like people having to pay for their draws per turn, and then you're just like, cool, I'll just like keep sinking mana in and beating you to death.
If I've learned anything playing this game, it's that people don't pay. So
That too.
Yeah.
Just play against Linden every time, and there's like no shot he's ever paying.
Oh my
for
god, Unreal too? Easy
yeah,
peasy.
not happening. Also Grim Hireling. Grim Hireling's nuts with Marnius Calgar. Because first of all, like whenever you like he makes 2/2 Vigilancers for 6 mana, so like you just sort of have a lot of the time you're just gonna have like a board presence by default here. But also Marnius has double strike. So even if you just have Grim Hireling and Marnius Calgar out, you're gonna play Grim Hireling, attack somebody, hit them the first time, make 2 treasures, draw a card, and then hit them again and make another 2 treasures and draw another card.
Yeah.
So like you play Grim Hireling and then it immediately pays for itself, plus draws you 2 cards on the same turn, like with just your commander in play. And then also like Bigger Blossom, pretty great. You pay 3 mana or pay 3 life rather, draw 2 cards, and make a treasure every turn. Not bad for 3 mana. And there's also some other interesting stuff. You can do like a Monastery Mentor stuff, Setchmore Witch, for like a more strong
Monastery
build. I'm
Mentor.
not sure how good those are going to be, but like I think there is probably like a mentor build of this out there that you just like sort of jam a bunch of like token producers in there and just like cast rituals over and over and over again until you win.
Honestly, the real tragedy, could you imagine if you could put Kikar in this deck?
Oh my god.
Every spell you cast,
so not
every
okay.
non-creature spell draws you a card and makes you a mana.
Yeah. That seems pretty good.
Actually unreal. But yeah, I'm not sure that we missed anything here.
I mean, dude, your card instructs off Ursus Saga drawing you a card? Wow.
Oh yeah. That is honestly pretty hot. I'm down.
It is
you
cool
also
to
like just I mean, it's double strike. You can put a curiosity on him too if you want to. 1 mana, make him draw you 2 cards every time he hits something.
I feel
Not
like
terrible.
putting a curiosity on my 5 mana commander is just
Asking for trouble.
for trouble, yeah.
I do, yeah. You did mention like you kind of just incidentally, because you're running a bunch of good cards, end up, drawing off, for instance, Urza Saga. That does kind of worry me because like it does look like a spicy Gilded Drake target.
Yeah, that is a big one. Is that like a lot of decks can use this card.
Yeah.
So it's like you're definitely sort of playing with fire. In a similar way that Zur does, but it's more explosive than Zur. It's less commander reliant than Zur in a lot of ways. I feel like it's got some stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely not as reliant on being in play, but yeah, you kind of do want it to be.
Yeah. the story of infinite mana outlets everywhere, basically. Cool. I think we're probably good on Marnius Calgar. I'll give this one a solid 4 out of 5. We're not doing ratings, but I'll give a rating for this one. Morgan, you want to take next?
Sure. The next one we have is Magnus Third. I know that's not how it's pronounced. I just refuse to accommodate Warhammer players. That's
Yeah.
Magnus the Red.
Magnus
It
the
is
Forfeiter.
a legendary creature, Demon Primarch. Primarch. It has flying, and it has
Shoe lane.
instant and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast for each creature token you control. And whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you create a 3/3 red spawn token. So it does the is it discounter thing. It joins
Yeah, definitely.
it's like a weirdly broad category now.
It's Mizzix.
Vadric. Is there one more? Saheeli sort of does it. Like
Yeah,
her
yeah.
uptick
It's a
discounts the
one-up.
next spell.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I think
so,
Mizzix is the closest parallel here. And I think one awesome thing that Magnus solves over Mizzix is Clasms. Just not dying to
you
its
do,
own
you do get to
Clasms.
play Clasms, which is pretty hot.
And like I
Yes.
understand
You actually get to
that
play,
sure,
like-
the best tokens you can make are 1/1s, but that being said, even discounting, even if you have a couple 3/3s in play because you've connected, like that's still unreal for Storm.
Yeah. Honestly, you could even like play relatively large wipes too. Like you can play like 4 damage wipes as well, and
Yeah.
like sort of be okay with it. Like you just sort of left with your commander open.
I mean,
like,
even if you just
like-
wipe pre-combat, go to combat, hit
yeah,
something,
exactly.
pass the turn with all of your spells still discounted by 1, like, or like try and do one other thing that makes a token and then storm off with all your spells discounted by 2. Yeah, it's not.
Yeah. Oh, for the record, there is another discounter. It's Kaza Royal Chaser.
Oh, Kaza, yeah.
Which actually might
It's
be
actually-
the closest equivalent because it does
Yeah.
also depend on creatures in play.
Kind of you
Oh,
get
is it,
cursed
yeah,
with
the one that taps. I feel like I
Yeah.
remember
Yeah.
you trying to sell me on this, and I was not buying.
I think I tried to sell you on it for like a very short period of time in terms of being like a fun deck to try building, and then I tried building it, got 50 cards in, and quit.
This does seem a tiny bit better, but that being said, I feel like is it Storm and just the fact that you have to play wheels almost mandatory, like, is gonna be the downfall.
Also, just like
yeah, it's also
it costing 5, and then
yeah,
like,
5
that's-
mana
that's
for your discounter that needs like turns to ramp up is just like so rough.
Yeah, I'm actually, you know what? I'm less concerned about getting to like the right turn these days than I have been ever. It seems like games are just going a bit longer. I don't know.
I mean, it's the ramp up time after it comes down though, right? Like unless you like unless you're spending time ahead of time to like stick a season or like a young pyromancer or whatever,
Yeah.
and like getting that stuff online and then like casting Magnus and having a mana left open to do whatever. But like, yeah,
Well, what else are you doing? Is it
true, I guess.
the early turns?
I mean like the one like the thing is that like yes the games go longer, but like they might not go longer if you're like tapping out to cast your 5 mana commander, you know, like
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
I'd
maybe.
be very worried in a lot of pods that like just I die trying to get this into play.
Yeah, sure.
It's been too
Worth testing out.
Yeah, for sure. It's
cool. I just realized as well that we stuck Matt with some of the hard names here, but I trust in you.
I mean, I'm so far. What
this
I don't
next
know,
one's
2 for 2,
fine.
so.
I feel like it's the one after it is the hardest.
Oh sure, yeah.
Magus, Lucia, Kane.
There you go.
Boom. Human
Don't spit
Tyranid
it.
Wizard. Yeah. 1 green, blue, red. For a 1/1. Spiritual Leader. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. Psychic Stimulus. Add colorless. When you next cast a spell with X in its mana cost, or activate an ability with X in the activation cost this turn, copy that spell or ability. You may choose new targets. Wow.
Pretty neat.
Pretty neat. I'm trying to think of some
It's-
good X abilities that you would copy. Than spells.
What? Oh sure. I mean, does Cryptic Trilobite have X?
No. It costs X to cast, but its ability only costs 1 to put a counter on it.
Right, it's 1 and tap. Yeah. I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Are there actually good X abilities like at all?
I'm sure we're missing an obvious one.
Probably. Let's see.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go do a Scryfall search real quick.
Okay, yeah. But there are plenty of good spells with X in their mana cost that you want to copy.
There are. In fact, there are a lot of good spells with X in their mana cost in Teamer specifically. Teamer has no shortage of good stuff with variable mana costs.
Yeah.
So Candelabra is the big one.
Candelabra. Nice.
Candlestick plus Magnus just is like very large, especially when you have a Cradle in play.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, this
Pretty
yeah,
happy about.
it's definitely cool that it's in Teamer. Obviously doubling up your finales and your chords seems good.
Yep. Those just
There's
win the game in
plenty
some
of
form or
two-card
another.
combos.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, there's any number of things that you can do with that. I think people are looking at like, Ewit plus Tuner Sabertooth stuff, or like you can fit like if you cast X equals 3, you can fit a dual caster mage in because you like make a copy, resolve the copy, dual caster mage, copy the thing that's already on the stack, and then get more stuff.
Yeah,
which is pretty neat.
I am worried though that like you kind of get to that point where it's an untap and win commander, and then it doesn't end up untapping.
Yeah, it's also like not particularly bad to Gilded Drake either. Again, like having a pump every turn is pretty relevant for a lot of decks. Like if I'm playing Thrasios Tymna, I'm like snap taking this because I'm just like, yes, I would like my Tymna to grow by 1 every turn, and then also
if I find my finale, then I just win.
Yeah.
I mean, I think like I think the incredibly obvious comparison is Calamax. They have this like, and I think
they're like very similar.
The more I've like looked at this and seen the lists people are coming out with, where like, okay, so both decks combo with Chord, and then like you get Finale, and then I'm looking at
Green
like
Sun Zenith, sort of like it doesn't win the game.
Yeah, Green Sun Zenith, like, sort of, and then I'm looking at like the 30 instants I have in Calamax that synergize with it, and I'm like, huh. And there's like, yeah, sure, I mean, you get to play March of Swirling Mist, but like that is also doubled. Like
you get a bunch of strokes, like strokes and.
But like all the ones that are instants are doubled anyways. Like
no, but like Magus, like she taps to do stuff to like feed them. Right, is the big one. Like you can whatever pull from tomorrow. Pull from tomorrow for blue and draw 4 cards and discard 2. Like that's not bad. And then it scales up as you.
I mean,
like,
it's not good though. Like.
But like if you have a cradle,
that
play,
definitely
like,
scales up,
which isn't particularly
for sure. If you're, but like I don't know, it feels like a pretty narrow thing where it's like a pretty narrow range where I really care about the extra 2. Like, because if I'm stroking for like 8, then I don't care that it's like, you know, the difference between 8 and 10 doubled is like, who cares, right? Or like, sure, 10 is better, but you know, 8 is often just going to get you there.
Right.
And then, like, I don't know, there's no, like, Calamax just, obviously you only have 1 copy of Return of the Wild Speaker, but, like, that is far more efficient than, like, anything that's happening, so...
I think there's some differences, though, in how you build this deck versus how you build Calamax. Like, I feel like you can play Magus in a lot more of a way where the hands can just be, like a literal just whack load of mana plus like a single payoff, and then like Magus makes it so that 1 payoff is going to be good enough a much larger percentage of the time. So like I have this hand that's like nothing but like dorks, a big dork, maybe like a piece of interaction, and then like a huge spell that I can sink mana into, and like being able to sink that mana plus an additional 2 mana into a big spell and get the copy like very consistently is very nice. Whereas like I don't know, that feels like less consistent with Calamax, where like you sort of want to be playing the more like piecemeal copy small stuff game until you can get the mana online for a big thing.
I suppose, but then I do think it does just run into the problem Matt outlined of like,
oh sure,
people just aren't gonna let you do that. Whereas like with Calamax. Calamax, like, sometimes he survives because people are like, yeah, I want this Calamax to help us not lose to, like, I want this Calamax to help us not lose to, like, the Turbo Naz player, and, like, having double counter spells is really helpful in that regard. But, like, with this, it's like, oh, if they're using it to do anything, then it's just, like, it's just gonna be, it's just gonna be them winning the game.
Yeah. I guess I am like passively looking at other X things.
There's that
like Treasure Vault's fine.
There's that X spell that copies your next spell X times or whatever. Do I have that right?
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, it's just kind of a joke. I don't think you'd actually play it.
Anyway, oh, you can also, I guess, League of Guild Mage is pretty hot with it, because it's copy target instant sorcery spell you control with mana value X, and you can choose new targets for the copies. So like you can, like you cast any spell and then like sync the rest of it into a League Guild Mage to copy it twice. Pretty hot.
Yeah, I didn't think about looking up creatures with X in their cost.
Yeah, I mean you get like
cool.
I think you can pay it for transmute artifact too, right?
No.
No, transmute.
You could pay.
Yeah,
you could pay for
you
reshape.
you can't.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Like there's some stuff going on here. But yeah, I don't think it's like great, but like it's good teamer stuff. You know.
Also, just like the fact that it's a 1/1 at base is like, I feel like a version of this deck that I might want to build would be hampered by the fact. Well, I just mean like if you're trying to like play Clasms or things like that.
Sure, but I'm saying like it makes itself a 2/2 on your first turn, and then like the turn after makes itself a 3/3.
Sure.
It does, so yeah. It's too bad you can't play Esper Sentinel.
Yeah. You can play what's it called though, the druid that needs a counter on it to be a big dork.
Incubation druid.
Yeah,
that's the one.
Druid. That is.
And
cool.
with Bloom Tender plus this, like this plus Bloom Tender, Vision Graph Mage actually makes infinite mana with that too. Like Vision Graph Mage plus this and Big Dorks is just pretty neat as well.
I mean, the problem is that you still need an outlet for that.
Oh yeah, sure. I'm just saying, it has some interesting synergies. I don't think a lot of them are particularly worth like sinking a ton of time into or a ton of effort into like just like jamming those into slots. But you know, it's got some stuff.
I mean, if you're playing a bunch of extras, then I guess you might just have outlets kind of ready.
Yeah. Maybe the way that you're supposed to play this deck isn't doing like A+B creature combo stuff and instead playing like Reality Spasm, extra like untap like storm stuff instead.
Yeah, admittedly with untapping it, like that is something it has over Calamax, that you can use it multiple times in a turn is kind of nice.
Yeah.
Although
I think like that might be worth exploring instead, potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. I think it's probably about as much as we have to talk about for insert X teamer spell-based commander. Cool. We'll move on to the next one on our sheet, which is Gearson Star and Kellermorph. 1 blue red Tyrannid human 3/2. Ward 2. For the record, love Ward on commanders. I think Ward on commanders is awesome.
Yeah, agreed.
I think it's rough when like you get to the Tivit level where it's like, okay, I'm paying an extra 3 to interact with this, sure. But I think it's definitely healthier than Hexproof, where it's like Narset with Hexproof. Sorry, I'll finish reading the card and then we can talk about this. So Gearson Star Kellermorph, 1 blue red Tyrannid human 3/2 Ward 2. 3 auto stubs. Whenever another source you control deals exactly 1 damage to a permanent or player, Gearson Star and Kellermorph deals 2 damage to that permanent or player. Pretty cool. Turns like pingers into bolters, which is much more really viable strong in CDH and EDH in general.
Okay, and this is, I guess, trivia, but I feel like there was some stat where like there was no magic card depicting a gun.
This might be the first one.
Is this our first gun? Yeah.
I think Scryfall Tiger can probably do that, right? Gearson Stone. Let's see. Scryfall Tiger. Gun artwork.
No, there's lots of guns.
Nope, there's a bunch.
There's a bunch of guns? Okay.
There's a bunch. You consider Goblin Sharpshooter a gun?
No.
Which is a hammer with a stock and a bunch of scopes.
Yeah.
It's just fantastic.
No, but there's like
yeah, there's a bunch. Actually, OG Goblin Sharpshooter is just using a revolving machine gun. So
okay, never mind.
Yeah, just straight up has one. Yeah, so Gearson Star is pretty cool. he obviously does. We're gonna get laughed at. I'm gonna get laughed at for this, but obviously does stuff with curiosities. Curiosities are pretty hot with this. I was talking pre-show. I love that they're printing more commanders that do things with curiosities, because I think commanders that do things with curiosities is actually a surprisingly small group currently. I mean, obviously, if you include like stuff like Ketis, then like sure, the list goes a bit deeper. But realistically, we only really have like Vile Smasher and Niv. That's like it, right? Like, it's
Pretty much.
basically all you got for like curiosity commanders. So I'm really happy to see them actually like printing more of them that do stuff like this. I think it's pretty cool. Like, I think the issue is probably going to be curiosity access here, but I could definitely see if they printed like 3 more curiosities tomorrow, there's probably a build of this deck where like you just play a bunch of pingers like Thermal Alchemist. There are like 3 other like 2-mana pings whenever you cast a spell, and then like they stack whenever you get them in play. And then like you cast a spell, draw 3 cards, cast another spell, draw another 3 cards, because Gearson also pings whenever they ping. And then like if you have multiple of them in play, you're drawing like 6 cards every time you cast a spell. Pretty cool.
Also, you get to make 1-2 punch jokes endlessly.
Correct. But yeah, also like I think. Do you guys think there's like a version of this deck that just does burn stuff? Maybe not CDH, but like high power, mid power. Like you just like
sure, yeah, high power, mid power. I like have a preliminary list brewed, and like it all felt not great.
You can't play damage
for CDH.
Yeah. It goes like, oh nice, I have the curiosity. Oh, I don't. Like I can play a bit of control. I'm like cool. Electric is like a one-sided board wipe. Nice. And then like, oh, I'm playing Izzet and I don't have card advantage in the command zone. This sucks.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, the fact that I think actually the most compelling thing isn't necessarily the curiosities in CDH, but more the fact that you can just cast an End of Festivities that deals 3 damage.
Yeah, oh yeah, that part's fun.
Yeah, that's the fun part. I think the curiosities, you just can't find them consistently enough, which is an issue. Maybe if they printed like an artifact curiosity, that might be enough.
Yeah, that's what I was also thinking the same thing. I'm like, I'm a little surprised there's not at least one like equipment curiosity.
This one, though, for the record, also does incredibly stupid things with Sigil of Sleep, which like Niv doesn't really want to run, and Vile Smasher isn't nearly as disgusting with. Because if you have Sigil of Sleep plus this plus like End the Festivities, you're like, okay, deal 1 to everything, and then deal 2 to everything plus you, and anything that's left over gets bounced. Like, I'm going to everything that's 3 toughness or less dies, and then you get to like everything else you get a single bounce off of, which is pretty hot. And then pingers obviously just like ruin people's boards. Like you activate a Thermal Alchemist, everybody bounces a creature. You do it again, everybody bounces another creature. Just nobody gets to play the game.
There's a card that pings something whenever you cast a non-creature spell. That one's kind of messed up.
Yeah, is that it's Firebrand? No. Wait, yes? Is my Pauper knowledge gonna save me?
Wait, what? I think it's common.
Firebrand Archer? Yes, Firebrand Archer.
Wait.
But if you cast a non-creature spell, it deals 1 damage to each opponent.
No. There's a card that pings any target whenever you cast a non-creature spell.
Oh, any target. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, never mind. Yeah, much better.
Yeah. It doesn't hit everyone, but it doesn't need to.
Does the job, yeah. I think probably the high power. I think we're going to devolve into high power discussion about this card, because like CDH is sort of we're basically just waiting on curiosities for this guy to be good in CDH. But in high power, like Pyromancer making 3/1s is pretty hot.
Yeah.
Or like equivalent of 3/1s. Just like I don't know. Like you can play like Kuldotha Rebirth to make 3/1s.
The problem with casual, especially going the burn route, is you just can't play any damage multipliers. Like you just have to deal 3 to everything.
Yeah. Aren't there like targeted damage multipliers though?
Yeah, there's I think there's like some equipment or auras that would like.
Yeah. I mean, definitely like putting infection on this dude is pretty hot, right? Like,
yes.
Yeah, oh,
In
yeah,
fact,
absolutely.
5-shot you. Just all that kind of stuff. I think it's interesting. But this one, I'll mark it because I think we should give more or at least I don't know. I feel like I don't give enough insight into the thought process for brewing. This is now a card if you're listening and you want to become more of an active brewer or you just have an interest in brewing decks. This is one of those cards that you stick in your filing cabinet in your brain, and now whenever you see a curiosity that gets printed from now on, you're like, oh, I know what this goes in. I need to go test that deck to see if that was enough to push it over the edge. That's just sort of in that filing cabinet now. It's like, okay, if you see your curiosity, you need to go put it in Kirsten Star and go test the deck again.
When the curiosity equipment gets released, this is absolutely just unlocked.
Exactly. Especially God, like you can like, you're in the perfect colors for it too, because you have like Goblin Engineer, you have Welder, you have like all the like welding stuff, plus you have the like artifact tutors and things. That's just like exactly where we want to be. Yeah, cool. Morgan, you want to take next?
Sure. So next up we have Anrakir the Traveler. Anrakir? I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, probably.
Close enough.
Sounds good.
Well, I thought you knew all these, Reed. Come on. So it is...
I never said I did.
Oh, I see. It is a 4 and a black for a legendary artifact creature Necron. And it has, whenever Anrakir the Traveler attacks, you may cast an artifact spell from your hand or graveyard by paying life equal to its mana value rather than paying its mana cost. So whenever it attacks, you can pay 6 life and cast Bolus Ascendant.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like...
That's about it, but that's kind of good, right?
I mean, the true tragedy with this card is that Unmarked Grave can't put Bolus Citadel in the bin.
Truly
That's basically all you're sad about.
That is truly too bad.
It's got stuff. You can just like, you can dump, what's it called? Statue of the God Pharaoh into play, Ward of Bones.
I mean, you definitely can play Ward of Bones.
Yeah. The issue is sort of that, like, you're playing this 5-mana commander that has to attack, which is, like, realistically only 1 mana less than a bunch of the stuff you're going to be putting in.
It is harder to counter, and, like, it casts it from the graveyard, so, like, you can just keep trying. Or, well, I mean, maybe not with Citadel.
Yeah. Like, any of the stuff that's worth putting in, you get, like, 3 attempts and then you die.
Yeah. Its strength is also its weakness, because you have to pay a crap ton of life.
Yeah.
Cheating Possessed Portal.
Stuff. Yeah, I was thinking like, about Possessed Portal, but I don't even know, like, if that's really that good.
Not in this deck, it's not. Well, no. I mean, you can, like, you can recast stuff from the bin to, like, keep yourself alive a little bit longer.
It's just like super rough. You're just like sacking stuff every.
Yes, but so are they.
Every turn. I understand. It's just like when people say like stuff breaks parity on Possessed Portal. It's like, in my opinion, you gotta break parity pretty hard on Possessed Portal to make it worth playing. Because, like, it's so hard to guarantee that you're going to have enough, like, stuff going on that, like, you don't really care about throwing away 3 things before your next turn.
Yeah.
Actually, is it 4 things?
It's 4 things, yeah.
Well, I guess it's 3 things for Anrakir, because you can sack it in the person before your turn's thing, and then get it back.
Which is, like, actually
like 8
kind
life every time.
Yeah, but you can also then, like, draw cards, right? Which is...
Sure, yeah.
Like, you would really only have to do that once or twice before you'd sufficiently broken parity that everyone else would just not have things left.
I think maybe a direction to go with this one is just self-mill, potentially. I don't know. Like, self-mill, buy something back.
That, like, a lot of there's not, like, particularly good self-mill, like...
Yeah, in black as well. Like,
it's also like... It's not like you have a hard time accessing cards in black. Specific cards in black.
You would be surprised. Black has a lot of tutors. It doesn't necessarily mean that it has enough tutors to fill out a deck on its own. Unless you're, like, really digging deep for some of them.
Well,
I think
feel like that's shallower than playing 5-mana creature that needs to be enabled by self-mill.
Yeah, it's also fair. I think like the only mono black deck that has anything close to a tutor density required to actually play Magic, like excluding the tutors in the command zone, because I think those are just rough because it's just a lot of mana. Is like specifically Crick, and that's just because he makes like 5 mana tutors actually sort of playable ish.
Yeah, I guess also in the set the one like the one combo you get is biotransference or whatever. The thing that
yeah, right.
So I mean, if this were for creatures as well, like that'd obviously be really good. But
yeah. Oh god, biotransference is an enchantment too, so you can't even get it back with it.
It is an enchantment.
Can't even cheat it. It's rough.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like the deck also just kind of suffers from a lack of good artifact, or not good artifacts, but like artifacts
stuff that you want to cheat in. That's worth playing your 5 mana thing in a
yeah, like artifacts that actually justify like the hoops you're jumping through.
Instead of just like casting them.
Yeah,
I could jump through all these hoops to cheat in this God Pharaoh statue, or I could just pay 1 more mana and get it a turn earlier.
Like, you know, going off like even, and I think that's like a general problem, not even just in this, because like in no ban list, like people play Tinker, but like they're mostly just getting Time Vault with it. Like,
yeah,
obviously, you know. The flexibility on a card like Tinker to get whatever's better.
Citadel is pretty good.
3 mana Citadel or 3 mana Pension, whichever is better, is like obviously extremely strong. But like, I mean, you don't have Pension in the format with the ban list, so it's only Citadel, and like Citadel is also a lot better in no ban list than it is in the regular format because like. You play a lot less lands and you have like Moxen and stuff. So like
I've never been too impressed by it in traditional ban list.
I think like honestly the biggest thing the appeal it has to me is just that like it's quite hard to counter, but that's like as like giant haymakers go, I think the artifact ones are substantially less powerful than the creatures or the enchantments.
Also, I guess randomly you can break parity on Winter Orb and Static Orb if you have a sack in play.
Oh god.
I don't know.
Yes.
This is
if you have one of the like 3 black cards that let you sacrifice artifacts.
See, there's KCI. There's plenty. The creature, the 2 mana creature that I play in a Sararak that does it.
Priest of Urbrass? No, it's Priest of Gix, right?
No, it's not a priest. No, it's
something of Gix. This is bothering me.
I'm gonna look in the background. You guys keep talking. I'll come back with a revelation when I get there.
They don't even have to be free outlets. I guess it breaks parity well with Smokestack. I don't know.
Priest of Yawgmoth.
It's Yawgmoth. Okay.
Yeah, it's Yawgmoth. Yeah, that's rough.
At that point, I'd rather play Silas.
Or just like anything that actually breaks parity on Torb and Static Orb. We have 3 of them at this point.
You get your curiosities, I get breaking parity with stack specs, okay?
Alright. That being said, next, Matt, if you want to get this, speaking of self-mill.
Yes, yeah. Trazyn the Infinite. 4 black for a 4/6 Death Touch. Prismatic Gallery. As long as Trazyn the Infinite is in your battlefield, or is on the battlefield, it has all activated abilities in your battlefield. It has all activated abilities of all artifact cards in your graveyard. Infinite indeed.
Yeah.
I think there's already there's a Buried Alive win, I think, as long as they're not summoning sick, right?
Yeah, there's some cool things in here. You have one that doesn't even require not being summoning sick. You can just Buried Alive Phyrexian Delver plus, or Phyrexian Devourer plus 1 Ballista. And just sort of murder people with that. If you have enough CMC left in your deck. You're in mono black, you probably do. I feel like that deck probably just has like enough fat in the main that you can probably.
Yeah, that's definitely a win condition
relatively
I'll happily let people play out.
Yeah, you gotta count. What was it, Morgan? We played a game recently where you did that to somebody, right? With a chainer and
No, it was someone.
Yeah, like you stole somebody's. Was it Phoenix?
No, it was was it? So it was someone from Playing with Power. I want to say we were playing with Power, and I was playing Rafine, and they buried alive their Necrotic Ooze combo.
Oh, yes, right.
I went, cool, mine.
Cool. Reanimate your Necrotic Ooze, murder you.
It was close, though. It was
definitely a deck that can do that, but it was, like, surprisingly close.
Well, it was, like, because I'd drawn, like, I think I had one of the turn spells in my hand, and I'd drawn, like, a bunch of the 3-drops. Because I think the total CMC of the deck was, like, 140, and I was, like... But yeah, it was kind of funny. Because I was like, I'm definitely gonna get there. I was so confident, and then I was down to like 6 cards, and I was like, okay, I'm still not there. This is moderately concerning. And then
I think you were something like 10 damage over or something, which like very easily could have been like 2 turns away from you just not getting there. Yeah. I've actually sort of been interested in this dude too, though, just because like you also have a lot of other like really, really weird stuff with Mesmeric Orb, specifically, where like obviously if you have like Basalt Mesmeric Orb, like that just mills your deck, and then like you have the rest of the activated abilities of stuff in your graveyard, which I'm assuming you're gonna be able to get there. Like I'm assuming this deck.
Well, you need the Mesmeric Orb in play, right?
In play.
Yeah. Like I'm saying like it does cool stuff with the Mesmeric Orb if you can get the Mesmeric Orb in play. But like, so assuming you can piece together a win out of the graveyard somehow, there is really interesting stuff with Mesmeric Orb, just because there are a lot of things. So obviously there are a lot of things that tap for multiple mana in the format. So like just monoliths, crypt, soaring, that kind of stuff. There are also a relatively large number of pieces that you sort of would be playing anyway in a lot of cases that let you untap Trazen. So you can sort of like piece together your own Basalt monolith too in a lot of cases where like, okay, I have like Staff of Domination is a bad example because it's just sort of outlets anyway with
Retrofitter
like
Foundry,
the Mesmeric Orb, but like Retrofitter Foundry, Grim Monolith with like a Chromatic Orrery. I'm not saying that you would play Chromatic Orrery, but like that kind of thing where it's like,
I mean, you might.
Okay, I have this effect that untaps in my graveyard, and I have this effect that makes a lot of mana in my graveyard. I'm going to tap it, untap Trazen a bunch, and then like mill myself out and then kill you.
Chromatic Orrery definitely doesn't seem that bad, to be honest.
Honestly, yeah, like I might actually be down with Chromatic Orrery in this deck too. Just like dump it and then you have a Chromatic Orrery in play. But there's also like there's a bunch of that kind. I'm blanking on a bunch of the cards, but like there's also what's called the other guy, pay 2, untap, make a thing, Pillipala.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can like Pillipala plus like any big rock will make infinite mana.
Oh, hilariously,
you can't even respond, right? That's all mana.
It's just all mana abilities. Yeah.
Hilariously, Honor Worn Shaku.
Yeah, it goes infinite on its own with the with the Mesmeric Orb. I will tap this to make a mana and then untap it. Or sorry, no, I'll wait. Yeah, you just tap it to untap it, right?
I'll tap this to untap itself.
That's awesome.
It's just I think aggressively tutoring for Mesmeric Orb is probably going to be the way to go with this. If I had to take a shot in the dark.
I love that in a breach-dominated format.
Right. Maybe this is a deck where you just play Leyline of the Void. Just Leyline of the Void, mulligan to it every time, and then put a Mesmeric Orb in play and hope to get there.
I'm not a rules expert, but I feel like there's somewhere in the rules that prevents you from equipping equipments, right? From your graveyard.
Like
no, it's just
it to itself.
Creatures can't be attached to things is the rule that will get in your way there.
Yeah, that blocks it.
So I turn it into a non-creature, and then I can start equipping.
Yeah, there you go.
It too.
You can put a Swift reconfiguration on it, and then it is a vehicle, but you can also attach it to things, right? Does that work? No, is it? I think you actually might have to have the aura or equipment type line to be attached to things. I think. We're gonna get judges yelling at us. That's fine. Actually, please do yell at us, because I'm actually sort of interested in that. Or I could just look up the rules. And
yeah, no, the rules unattached say it has to be an aura equipment or fortification.
Oh, right. The famous third attachable type. There's only one, right? Yeah, yes. Darksteel Garrison. Cool. Well, I think that's all the commanders that we had laid out. I don't think we missed any, but if we did, you can come back and yell at us. Although we're not going to rectify it. We're just going to keep moving. So I guess moving on.
Yes, that was wrong. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah. Anyway, continuing the episode. So we're gonna get into some of the regular cards in the set here that we sort of picked out and thought were neat, and are just gonna go through real quick. First one up, we have Exalted Flamer of Sneech, which is a 2 blue-red demon, 2/4 Sorcerer's Inspiration. At the beginning of your upkeep, return an instant or sorcery card at random from your graveyard to your hand. That alone is already like pretty hot. And then we also have, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, it deals 1 damage to each opponent.
Guess what? Combos with Curiosity.
Does do things with Curiosity, although I think this might be like the one time I've actually thought that like a creature that does things with Curiosity is good enough for like a main deck with like decks that are already playing Curiosities. Just because the fact that every upkeep you get an instant or sorcery back is just like massive.
That is really
like
good.
That's so good.
And if if it has like just bad text, at least it draws you 3 cards.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and it's just like, yeah, like you're fine having this in play as a format of thing, and then when you do draw the Curiosity, it turns into the pinger thing. And it's actually really important that it gets back instant and sorceries at random rather than just like cards, because I feel like it's very common to have garbage of basically every other card type in your graveyard at random points in a game, except specifically like instants and sorceries. I feel like instants and sorceries are cards that, sort of by virtue of you putting them in your deck, are cards that you want to be casting at like most points in the game.
Yeah.
So being able to get those back specifically.
I mean, yeah, definitely not getting lands back is good. I think like I'd
be
fine getting like creatures and artifacts and stuff back, but
sure, yeah. That being said, it's also like, yeah. I guess if it like included all of those, that'd be fine. But I think it's nice to have like some amount of consistency as well, or like sort of like it is random, but it's also like you can sort of tailor it pretty easily.
Sure.
Yeah, it's not that random. Like you can sort of tailor it depending on what you want to put in your bin, / what you're casting. So I think I actually think Curious Control might even want to test this in the current configuration. I think a lot of them are already on Niv Mizzet. I think this is actually like very playable. I'd probably play this over Rashmi. I mean, the deck cut Rashmi a long time ago, but I think that this is probably actually worth consideration just because it produces value in a different way. Like giving you back stuff that you already spent in that deck is like super high quality.
Seems good in Gearson.
Yeah, and also maybe just Niv Mizzet. Maybe just put this in Niv Mizzet too. That potentially might be a thing. But yeah, Morgan, you want to get the next?
Sure. Next up, we have Company Commander. It casts for 2 white/black. It's a human soldier, and it has, when Company Commander enters the battlefield, create a number of 1/1 white soldier creature tokens equal to the number of opponents you have, and whenever Company Commander attacks, creatures you control gain Death Touch until end of turn, and it's a 2/4. So it's just makes a whole whack of Death Touchy attackers, which is potentially extremely...
That wasn't the opener that I was looking for.
What?
I thought the opening that I was looking for is, this is a great Najila card.
Oh, sure. Yes, that is.
And then we can get into the rest.
Right.
There you go. You want to walk that one back while I do the intro
of course,
again?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, this just obviously is a fantastic Najila card. Makes a whole bunch of 1/1s, and they all have Death Touch. Unfortunately, they're not warriors, but you know, not every Najeela card can be perfect for Najeela. So, like, I assume Najeela pilots will be happy with what they've got here.
But yeah, I mean,
Pongo's gonna be so mad.
Oh, he's gonna be. It's glorious. Yeah, I mean, Tymna decks, huh?
Yeah,
yeah. I feel like, maybe specifically,
it's no
on a
Wingcrafter.
Tymna. It is no Wingcrafter. It's also no Loyal Apprentice in a lot of ways. But I mean, honestly,
it seems like a good way to break through the mid-range matchup. To be honest,
I mean, it seems really good in Tana Tymna. Actually, IMO. Like giving Tana Death Touch and the tokens that she makes Death Touch is like really
that's
nice.
pretty good.
And then also coming along with like additional attackers, is pretty hot. I guess like the answer to that question though is that like why aren't you just playing Orin Frostfang instead? Which
I mean, I don't know if it's an instead. I think you just play both.
you just jam both. Suddenly, Bloodpot is all mid-range slots.
Yeah, I don't know like what their slot pressure is like, but it seems like a fun one to try.
Yeah. Did you have any other specific stuff, Morgan?
Not really. No.
Rafine or something?
No. No. I think like it's so much worse than like Adeline.
Right.
And Adeline is a fantastic card in Rafine, but it already feels like rough having like a 3-mana amplifier. And that works same turn, right? Because the trigger is when you attack. Whereas this creates a bunch of summoning sick things.
Yeah.
And like you don't need Death Touch because your stuff just gets big.
Yep.
And or you pitch a wonder, easy clap.
Yeah, I was about to say and or they just all up flying.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sure.
Matt?
Let's move on. Chaos Mutation, 3 blue-red instant. Exile any number of target creatures controlled by different players. For each creature card exiled this way, its controller reveals cards from the top of their library until they reveal a creature card. They put that card on the battlefield, and then they put the rest on the bottom of their library in a random order. So, instant speed, polymorph for yourself, and also for your opponents.
If you want to.
If you'd like them to, yeah. Which I feel like there's usually a good reason to just tack on a couple extra creatures.
I mean, nuking an Archon is pretty hot. Obviously, oofs for these kind of decks. Yeah. More polymorphs, always nice. I think
absolutely.
I think honestly, Rog Malcolm? Yeah, Rog Malcolm is getting like closer every day.
Rog Malcolm?
A deck that actually exists.
I feel like it's just such a hard sell over.
It is a hard sell.
Over Thrasios Malcolm?
Yeah, or, Thras Rog.
Or sorry, that's what I mean.
Thras Rog.
Thras Rog.
Yeah. I think also like Thras Rog is in the midst of getting there. Potentially I think the best place for Thras Rog to get to is getting to a place where you don't have to play Oath of Druids anymore. I feel like that deck is sort of like leaning on just like having a bunch of like polymorph density and just being able to go for it a bunch. And Oath is just sort of part of that package, but is not something that you actually particularly enjoy having to actually play, just because, conditions, stuff can go pretty wrong, you have to wait a turn cycle, etc., etc. So, yeah, more polys, always nice. Is anybody here, like, playing poly decks right now? I don't think so, right?
I was actually thinking about sleeving up Rog Thrasios, not gonna lie.
Oh, cool.
It wasn't too long ago. I think it was around the same time I was making the decision about playing Sans Black Pod, but decided to go with a different deck.
You definitely should, because that means that we can all have tier control decks put together, and they'll all be different. Yeah, and then we'll move on to the next one then. This one is Vexilus Praetor. 3 and a white for a Custodes Warrior. 3/4, Flash, Vigilance, and Aegis of the Emperor. Commanders you control have protection from everything. Yeah, that's an ability. That's a bit of one.
And so protection from everything doesn't protect you from wraths, but
yeah, which is unfortunate, but also who plays wraths in this day and age? It's all marches, and you can't march out commanders with this in place, so get wrecked, nerds.
But it does let you connect.
Yeah, I'm not
very
sure.
freely.
I'm not sure if this has much of a place anywhere, but or at least currently, but it definitely has potential. Wouldn't be surprised if it goes in. Well, I wouldn't be surprised, especially if this one goes in stuff that Charles plays. In terms of other things, not so sure, but
seems okay in Agila, to be honest.
Makes Agila unblockable, yeah. Not bad.
It is actually a warrior. It's a lot of mana.
It is
and
a lot.
I feel like a lot of people I've seen talking about this card, like 4 mana. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just good enough that you just sort of slam it whenever you have it. But certainly trying to hold it up to blow people out is I don't think that's viable.
No. I think you just play it. You slam it as early as you can.
I think that only happens in like mono white or white green, like the holding up meta to slam it, because it's like one of those things where it's like, okay, I'm out of things to do. I don't really have efficient mana sinks, so we're just gonna hold this one until somebody tries to remove my problem maker.
Yeah. Maybe I'll try it in Holland. People
that's so rude.
People kill them a lot, and I want them to stop. So
I think probably if this is going to see play anywhere in higher color lists, I actually do think that like the places where it's going to see play are decks that want the unblockable part of protection from everything.
Yeah, kind of seems hilarious in like Ishai.
Yeah, exactly. Like exactly that kind of thing, right? Where it's like you want the protection, but the default mode is like I need the unblockable from this, and then the protection is gravy. Or like rather, I guess a better way to put it is like the unblockable is the primary reason why I want this in play. So like I'm encouraged to play it like earlier, and then like the protection from everything is like super nice as additional protection for the thing that it wants to get through. But yeah, still doesn't protect against Cycrift. Sucks to suck. Are we ever gonna get more installation against Cycrift for like low color white stacks?
I mean,
is like the only coverage that you have right now is just Prelate and Chalice, right? For the most part, or Archon too, I guess. But
yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. Basically, yeah.
I don't know. It's just like it's like we have patches that like cover that hole a bit, but like I feel like we're still very much in a place where you can't cover all of the board wipes at once, and like that's a pretty large issue when people are playing a variety of things, including like Cycrift, Dam, Toxic Deluge, which you need like different things to cover all those things, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, Morgan, you're next. This is the last card on our current list, and it's by far the best one.
Yes.
Honestly, in the entire set. Do you want to read off the name for this one?
Yeah.
So I think it really just speaks for itself.
I mean, you can read the rest and then the name. Anyway, it's your call.
No, actually, you know what?
Yeah.
Let's
right.
just some suspense in here.
So this is a demon. It casts for 3 and a black. And it has Jolly Gut Pipes, which is 2 tap, sacrifice a creature. The next creature spell you cast this turn has Cascade. And it's a 3/3. And this card is named Sloppity Bile Piper, which the text of the card is not super important. I think the primary use case we're going to see for this is to name it off Demonic Consultation.
Yep. Yeah. Really, like there is not a better name for Demonic Consultation. I think this one is just strictly correct. I don't know.
I'm a big fan.
Sloppity Bile Piper.
Insert that was my high school nickname.
Yeah, exactly.
Ew. Gross.
Just slopping those bile pipes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's it. That's all we got. Some interesting stuff in this set. I'm interested to see how it sort of goes. I don't think there's any like. There's not really any like stapley stuff that like is going to ruin the format, which I'm pretty happy about. But it's like just a bunch of just neat things. It's like interesting cards with like I think explicitly interesting designs. Even the stuff that we don't have here. A lot of it is like interesting, not necessarily powerful, but interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm
Just
personally
check
most
it out.
excited for Magnus because I don't know, somewhere in my heart I have a spot for Is It Storm decks. So I'll probably give that one a try.
Yeah, just jam it.
Yeah.
See if Lyndon explicitly does not enjoy the storm part of Visit. He enjoys the grindy into nothingness
Well,
part of Visit. So
really?
not sure we'll see it.
Or does he
Bad, but-
specifically not enjoy the like oh god. Underworld Breach. Oh my god. Does he not specifically not enjoy the Underworld Breach math? Because I can't imagine anyone liking that.
I think Lyndon just doesn't like winning the game. He likes playing the game.
Well, true.
So
That's fair. I mean, well, he
You know
proved us
what? I
wrong
respect that.
at Chaos, right?
yeah. You know, no shade for me. You know, I love myself a good Seedborn Muse Circle Jerk session. But yeah. Anyway,
Nice.
that's our main topic. Let us know if you're excited for anything else from this set that we didn't cover, because there's definitely some good stuff in here.
But just know
moving
that
on.
if we didn't cover it, then that means it's not CEDH viable. So just
Yeah, exactly. And that's just like objective truth. Like that's not even coming from our mouths. That's just sort of how it is. We're just don't shoot the messenger.
Yeah, you can also take the
Anyway.
inverse, which means that everything that we've said absolutely has a place in CEH, and
Correct. Yeah.
you should really get familiar with these cards. They're sticking around.
But closing out, moving on to everybody's favorite section of the podcast. Gut check.
Good joke.
gotcha.
Well, today's gut check is sponsored by your favorite backup gut checker, myself. And unfortunately, I couldn't even think of a choose X, the top X, Y, but I have another one, which is, what old / unfavored deck do you think has the most legs in today's meta?
Ooh, that's an interesting one.
And this one was specifically inspired by the cash cards winner being
Yeah, I mean,
Teferi.
clearly it's just Teferi.
It's just the answer. It's just a fairy.
I will not be putting that as my answer, to be fair. But definitely inspired the question.
Oh, you know, ooh, I guess the
It could be an
question is, like-
archetype too, I guess. Not just a
Yeah.
deck.
Okay. All right. I got one, and then we'll see if the rest of the pod accepts this one. Otherwise, we'll rewind and do another one, I guess.
Sure, no worries. Yeah, I think I've got mine. I'm not.
It kind of depends on what count as like unfavored or old.
Like a potentially like a deck that it's clearly seen better days in regards to popularity. If it's always
Alright.
been fringe, then that doesn't count.
No, I've got one.
Okay.
Sure,
Do we
yeah.
all have the same answers? The question.
Probably. I feel like there's
Matt,
a
do you want to
decent,
lead off?
there's a decent
I-
chance Reed and I have the same answer.
I can.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can lead a yeah, sure. I just put food chain sliver.
My answer is also food chain.
Yeah.
Yup. All right, we all have the same
No.
answer.
All right, now let's do the second most.
Okay, yeah. Okay, it is now turned into
Inspired
the
decks.
nth best Y. Yeah, let's go. Okay, the second with the second most legs.
Second most legs.
Well, now it's Teferi. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right. Thinking for a quick sec.
Mana did not.
Stop.
You realize you're gonna have to cut that one.
Yeah,
right?
we're gonna have to cut
Like,
that.
you're gonna have to mute this entire section now. Although I guess do you mute this anyway? Probably. We'll just mute up to whenever we start answering.
Okay, I got mine. This one's actually not as hard as I would expect. Are you guys ready?
Not quite.
The most. See, I feel like I'm like struggling. I have like, you know, like there's a bunch of things that I think have more legs than the things I'm thinking of, but like are also not like as fringe now or haven't fallen as far or whatever. So like it's kind of a weird.
There is definitely a deck that was once much more popular that I don't think has necessarily gotten like worse proportional to its unfavorability. I think it definitely stands out.
Can I say Tassiger, or will Sinestra yell at me?
Honestly, just jam it.
You can commit to that, yeah.
All right.
Oh yeah, I got one. I got one.
Shall I lead us off then?
Sure.
Yeah.
Kess.
Ooh, that is hilarious because my answer isn't specifically Kess, but it's very closely.
Don't say Jaleva.
No. So it's not Jaleva. My answer is actually I think Grixis Twin is actually like still up there in terms of viability. Like I don't think it's necessarily better than the current Grixis stuff, but I think that like Grixis Twin is actually still very much viable. Like it's pretty small package. It's like relatively insulated win cons from a lot of the stuff that you typically lose to in Grixis. Works well through Rule of Law. Fits pretty nicely into a lot of those decks. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'd play it, but I think it still probably has legs.
Yep.
I mean, yeah. I like thought about Kess, but I guess she didn't like quite clear my like lower bound of like has she fallen far enough?
Right.
And mine is Tassiger. Like I get that, like, you know, I feel like it suffers a lot from just kind of being worse than Thrasios Timna in a lot of ways. But like certainly every spicy 7-drop, I'm like,
yeah.
So Tassiger though.
I definitely feel like Neoform Tasker, even like at the time of Neoform's printing, wasn't popular enough for how good that interaction is. Or so maybe it's just because like the good 7-drops just came by now, but I don't know.
Maybe I pick a different Sultai deck and I say Thrasios Nadir. That deck is still fine, and it went from having one person who played it to 0, so...
We've already said Food Chain.
Yeah, but like, that deck was barely a Food Chain deck.
Yeah.
Imagine playing Food Chain and using Razaketh as your outlet. Just amazing.
Top tier.
Alright, cool. We do not have a listener question this episode, but this is now a reminder to go leave listener questions for next episode. I know we missed an episode, but go do that, because more sections of the show, and you get free shoutouts and stuff. You don't even have to become a patron and read your name off on a podcast. Imagine that.
But like, you should become a patron. You just don't have to.
Still should, to be clear. You just don't have to. This is all free. And that about wraps it up for this episode. If you guys would like to reach out to us with any questions, comments, or concerns, you can contact us on Twitter at IntoTheNorthPod, via our email at IntoTheNorthPodcast@gmail.com, or on our Discord server, the invite link for which can be found in the description for this episode. An extra special thanks to all of our patrons who help cover the expenses for our show and allow us to work toward improving the quality of the podcast. If you too would like to become a patron, we are at patreon.com/IntoTheNorthPodcast. Another way you can support us is via our TCG Player affiliate link. Holy moly. Anytime you want to purchase something from TCG Player, if you use our affiliate link, which is in the podcast YouTube description, a portion of your purchase goes towards supporting the podcast. Thank you, as always, to the band Vox Cadre for our lovely podcast music, and to Nate Slover for our equally lovely podcast logo. Next episode will be out in 2 weeks. Till then, see ya.
Bye. Have a good